Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. This time we are looking at a Mardu Landfall deck, which here is a quick look at. Obviously we've got our landfall creatures, GPs, step links, got Confidant, and some hand disruption, as well as Sculler, which also works in that department, some burn spells, and obviously Drive Militant and a Core Firewalker as our other creatures. Obviously lots of fetches, flagstones, other things like that. Let's get into some games, shall we? So our first match is against Mono Blue Tron, and let's see how this goes. Oh, took a mulligan to 6. Not sure what happened to our original hand, but this is what we ended up keeping. So we have Drive Militant, Core Firewalker, Plated GP, Boris Charm, Arid Mesa, and a Plains. So that's certainly not too bad for a 6-card hand. Want to play, so we're just going to lead off with a Militant. I'll lead off with a tower into a expedition map. We are going to play the Blood Crypt we just drew and drop the Plated GP with a fetch land to play for next turn, so we can get into 5 with our GP potentially next turn, which is nice. We'll play an island, which makes it clear that he's on the blue Tron rather than the green-red Tron, which is the more popular version of the deck. So interesting, gives us a better idea of the kind of thing he's playing. Draw a fetch land, which is nice there. It's going to make sure our Plated GP is nice and pumped up. So just going to attack here. Going to crack my fetch. I can't think of really anything that he could have that would be able to deal with the GP at this point. Dismember aside, I suppose, but pardon me. So I think we just want to go for it. I know this deck runs things like Repeal and things like that, but it's usually counter spells, so removal is probably going to be difficult for him, so I think I just want to get my damage in right now and then try and drop a Core Firewalker. He's just going to activate the map, and I believe he searches up the power plant there, which he just plays out on his turn. So and then plays an Oblivion. It's obviously going to wipe the board, but it's probably going to be a little bit slow. Draw a Boris Charm as well, which is amazing. So we can just kill him here, can we? So it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we've got 8 points of damage because we can play both Boris Charms this turn as well. So just going to get in, crack the fetch, get a Sacred Foundry, put it up to 2, and then Boris Charm him, and could actually do a whole lot more with our second Boris Charm if needed, but bit of overkill there, just way too fast for him in this game. So let's go on to game 2, see if we can do a repeat performance. So let's get into that one. See if I can shrink this down. Right. So we are in the draw. See, our opponent chooses to play first. This is our opener. It's pretty sketchy actually. Maybe shouldn't have kept this, but I did end up keeping it. I mean, obviously we've got GP'd and lots of lands to power it up, so it's not the worst hand in the world, but we would like to draw something that makes it a little more exciting. With Tron, power plant of the mine. Ends up searching an island, interestingly enough, rather than the third Tron piece. One of the things about blue Tron is that it doesn't actually do a whole lot unless it gets blue, so it's got a lot of things like Condescend and Repeal, so sometimes you really do just need to grab that island so you can play your other spells, because if you haven't drawn your Wormcoil Engines and your Platinum Angels and what have you, sometimes you do just need the island, so that seemed to be the case here for my opponent, which is really good for us. Wormcoil or something like that would be pretty awful for us. Run lands off the top, which isn't great. It's at 3 with our GP'd. Play a Firewalker. Obviously, trying to play around Repeal and other cards that I think he would have, which are fairly standard blue Tron cards. Play a Firewalker into a Condescend, which maybe wasn't the smartest, given that we know what he's playing. Maybe could have played around that a little better. We draw Thoughtseize, so we're going to drop this Blood Crypt and Thoughtseize our opponent. So we see a Condescend, a Remand, a Repeal, a Thirst for Knowledge, and a Dismember. This is quite a tough one in terms of deciding what I wanted to take. He's got two things that can deal with our Geopede essentially. Repeal, obviously being quite annoying in that it bounces back to our hand, and he's got Dismember, which can just outright kill the Geopede if necessary. Then he's got a couple of counter spells and then a Thirst to draw him into further cards. I believe I end up taking the Thirst just as a way of preventing him from drawing extra cards. Maybe I should have taken the Dismember to save my Geopede, but it ends up our opponent's actually quite conservative with his Dismember, which works out in our favour generally. Obviously knowing he's got counter spells is useful as well, but I don't think I really want to take either of those. So yeah, I mean, Rand's not particularly effective against us at the moment, since we're just running all in on this Geopede pretty much. Can see an argument for actually taking the Dismember here, but I think we end up taking the First if I remember rightly. Let's have a look. So yeah, difficult decision actually, but we end up taking the First. We attack with our Geopede, and our opponent doesn't Dismember. I think it was a mistake on his behalf really. I think he ends up repealing this. But yeah, he definitely should Dismember this Geopede earlier. When he has the chance, because once I drop my second, I can actually protect the Geopede, which I believe is what I do next turn. See what happens here. So Finn plays an Academy Runes, but it's not too scary given that he doesn't actually have anything much that he would want to get back. I mean, I suppose he can get the Math back and then find his second Tron piece, which makes his Condescend better maybe, but it's not the most exciting. What he really wants to find is things like Worm Coil and Platinum Mid-Angel and his big action really, which he doesn't seem to have found. So I play my fetch. I can now protect from Dismember. Turns out he finds his under a second Repeal, which is a little annoying obviously, but we've got plenty of lands actually able to protect our Geopede now. Plays Oblivion Stone, which isn't ideal, but given that we have this Geopede and potentially can deal a lot of damage with it, I'm happy to keep going with it. Just play the land. I'm going to attack. Fortunately, we can't crack her fetches because he can Dismember in response, and that's going to kill off the Geopede, so I just have to keep them up. But getting into 3 each turn is not too bad. Put him down to 13. Didn't want to run out the Militant there just because I don't want to give him incentive to blow the Oblivion Stone for anything more than just this Geopede, which ends up working out pretty well. I can down to 10 here. Or a Helix, which is, well, it's more than fine. It's pretty good actually. I think that's one of the real advantages actually, that he's in quite a difficult position. The longer he waits, the more likely I am to draw the burn spells and things that I need, and he just doesn't seem to be drawing into that much action. So we saw him crack the Oblivion Stone there to get rid of the Geopede. I follow up with a Militant, and I Helix in there and then. I probably didn't need to, but I think the reason was that I was trying to play around these Condescends. I didn't want to have to double Lightning Helix and then him have a counter for one, so I decided to keep one back, but I could have just Helixed him both, with both Helix. We draw a Bolt, which should wrap things up, and dismembers the Dried Militant, but has to take 2 to do it. I'm going to try and Helix him, which he's going to Remand, but we've still got more than enough mana to finish him up with our burn spells, and that wraps up the match. So yeah, that went pretty well. Tron generally probably should be a pretty good match. Blue Tron is probably a better match than Red Green Tron, seeing as though they don't have things like Pyroclasm and Anger of the Gods and, you know, general board wipes that would be a bit of a pain for us. So yeah, this seems like a very good matchup for us, as long as we can be nice and speedy. I think my opponent kind of misplayed this matchup in that he didn't really respect the GP'd enough, and probably should have killed it with Dismember earlier. Also maybe got a little bit unlucky in that he didn't seem to draw any of his important cards, but either way we managed to beat him out, and as I say, kind of showed that if you go fast you can win like in game 1, and you can still grind out a longer game by getting your hits in and then finishing them off with burn. So yeah, good display of the deck, I think.